Hey, hey, thank you all so much for joining another episode of Celeste the Therapist Podcast. My name is Celeste. I'm a therapist from Boston. If you're new here, I want to say thank you so much for giving me a try. What I do on this podcast is I talk about things we go through and help you think about ways that you can deal with it. So, if you have a notebook and a pen, I encourage you to take notes. Is something I try to say at the beginning of each episode. Try to look at this podcast as a modality to help you with getting unstuck. One of my things that I quote a lot is shifting the way you think. It's the name of my wellness center because I recognize we get stuck in so many different ways. And my goal is to help you learn how to get unstuck. It's a passion that I have because I felt stuck for so many years in life. And once I understood the modality to help myself get unstuck, I made it my passion and mission to help you. Speaking of being stuck, today we're talking about planning and how easy it is for us to get stuck and the importance of creating a plan. I want to talk about why we get stuck, like the feelings associated with it, and what we can do about it, right? So that's important. If you're new here, I have a wellness center called Shifting the Way You Think. If you go to stwyt.com, you'll find all of the things that we do. We do individual therapy, we have wellness classes. We're located in Stoughton, Massachusetts. So you can find the different classes that we have. May 3rd, Saturday, doors open at 12. Programming starts at 12:30. We are having a mental health wellness day because May is mental health awareness month, and if you know me, you know mental health is something that is passionate, near and dear to my heart. So I wanted to create an event for the community. So if you are in the Stoughton area, please come by. I would love to meet you. We're going to have four different classes. I have a four-room suite. It's not the biggest suite, but it's gonna make it do what it do, right? So one of the rooms is just Irvine's room. I named it after this amazing woman who opened her arms up to me when I came on the scene. She passed away in 2020. So we have Irvine's community room where we're going to have four different classes. The first class is sound healing. We're going to have a restorative yoga. We're going to have a mindful yin class, and we're going to have a rest and restore class. Four different classes. Another room, we're going to have two people giving out chair massages. And then we're going to have one person giving out quick facials. If you've never had a facial, you've never had a chair massage, come through because that's all about wellness. Another room, we're going to have a creativity room where you're going to be able to make coasters. And then in another room, we're going to have a game room where you can play Connect Four, play Jenga. The mindset behind this is to introduce you to what wellness is and to help you see some of the things that we have at the center. Once a month, we have social gatherings where you just come and chill. We had a movie night, we had a crafting night, right? And then this in May, we're going to have this wellness day where you can kind of see everything. So all you got to do is go to stwyt.com and you will find that. So, planning, right? Why did this idea come to me? So I had the privilege of so if you know me, I'm like the biggest J. Cole fan, right? I'm gonna meet him one day. I'm gonna speak it into existence in real life. This is my seventh concert I went to see him. I went to North Carolina. I seen him at Dreamville. When I travel, I try to get things done before I go. I opened my wellness center officially November 2024. So I went from having a private practice where I'm literally just seeing clients and doing my podcast, felt like light work, to opening a wellness center where I'm hosting events, where I'm hiring people to be on my team, where I'm hiring contractors, way out of my like knowledge or psyche, right? So this is all new to me. So there's so many moments where I feel overwhelmed, I feel anxious. But during the concert, I told myself, okay, I'm gonna try to not do any work, and that's hard for me. One of the things that helps me when I'm overwhelmed is when I write things down. And I was in a process of switching systems of how I'm doing my organization. I'm using a new platform that I'm trying out, but I hadn't had it put up yet, right? So my stomach's turning, right? And I understand there are physical manifestations that take place when you get overwhelmed, whether you realize it or not. There are physical manifestations, and I was able to finally uh, use the system, put things in place, and immediately I felt like things were melting off of me. Like, okay, I could breathe, right? Now, let me be clear. There are a lot of things that still need to be done. If you were to see the things that I need to check off, there are a lot, right? There's a lot of things I need to check off, and um, even though I have things that I still need to check off, the thing that my mind is able to do is now it says it has a plan. I have it written somewhere. The thing is when you keep things so much in your head, it can be overwhelming. So if you are watching me on YouTube, we're going to look at a visual. For me personally, visuals are so important because it allows me to see things. I'm a very visual learner. And when I get to see what the teacher's talking about, it allows me to process differently. If you don't know how you process, try to start understanding what that looks like for you, because um, a lot of times people don't realize some of the ways that they're trying to learn, it's not taking place well because of the modality and the way that they're trying to learn. So one of the things I learned this in college when I tried to take an online class, and I realized like the online class wasn't for me because I couldn't ask questions. I couldn't raise my hand. It was just different, and I realized I was like, oh, you're a visual learner. You need to actually be there to kind of understand. So as I'm going to try to pull these slides up that I created. I'm going to, let's see, try to pull these slides. All right. So let's start from understanding the feeling. So you know how I said I have physical manifestations that take place. So feeling overwhelmed and stuck can manifest in as a sense of being unable to move forward. And I'm sure some people are like, oh my gosh, Celeste, yes, like I struggle with trying to move forward. Some emotional things that may come up is anxiety, worry, sadness, irritability, loss of motivation. One of the things I say to people, because people's like, how do you keep going, right? And for me, it's easy for me to keep going because I'm so in tune with the way my body's responding. I can feel the anxiety. I feel like, I'm a spiritual person, and I feel like God places ideas on my heart, and I know, everybody, I believe, this is my opinion. I believe we all have a purpose, and that purpose is going to look different. And one of my favorite motivational speakers, Les Brown, he said that a lot of people, uh, there's a lot of dreams in the graveyard because we never live out our purpose, right? And so, because I can feel the angst of not doing the things that I know I'm like destined to do, I'll find myself struggling with sleep, like kind of like feeling like really stuck, feeling like I'm supposed to do something and I'm not doing it. So, that's what propels me to start. Now, even when I'm starting, the anxiety's still there because it's something new, but it starts to dismantle because I'm actually moving forward with the things I'm supposed to do. And this is just something I believe in. This may not be something that works for you or the mindset, but I know when I talk to a lot of people, they do describe this feeling when they're not doing the things they're supposed to do. They do describe this feeling of feeling kind of anxious and overwhelmed. So the cognitive symptoms that might come up, right? If you're feeling stuck, difficulty, concentrating, forgetfulness, racing thoughts, and mental fog. If you have all these things going on in your head, right, where there are things you're supposed to be doing, let's just say you have these bills you have to pay. Let's just say you have phone calls you need to make. Let's say you have projects that are due, right? The thing is that it's all in your head. So now you're feeling overwhelmed by all of the things that are going on, and some physical manifestations that could come up for you if you're finding yourself like not getting things done, not doing the things you're supposed to do, are headaches, stomach aches, muscle tension, my back. If you've been listening to this podcast, my back, I'll get sleep disturbances. I'll wake up in the middle of the night. My stomach turns, right? These are some ways in which you might find yourself feeling when you are stuck. And it's not just about your goals or your vision. It could be just simple tasks. It could be cleaning around the house. It could be needing to call somebody back. It could be needing to pay a bill. I'm going to say this really quick because I say it a lot for people that's been listening to me a lot for a long time. There was a time where I had so many bills. Debt collectors was calling me. I was getting I was getting mail, right? And every time the call would come, I would get overwhelmed. Every time the bill would come, I would get overwhelmed. One day I was like, you know what? Let me just call these people. So I started calling people, I made deals, and my credit score was still low. The debt was still there, but there was this amount of overwhelming amount of peace that I started to experience because now I had a plan, right? So the thing is, it's like it's not like my life changed overnight where I'm like, oh, I'm debt free. I didn't win the lottery, but I had a plan, right? And that's the thing that we're not doing. We're not creating a plan, and we're finding ourselves feeling overwhelmed. When I just talked about how I was switching systems, and so where I typically would write down the things that I needed to do wasn't happening. It was all in my head because I'm trying to transfer it over. I found myself feeling so overwhelmed, and anytime I feel that, when I know where it's coming from, I'm like, I wonder if people know like what's going on with them when they find themselves in this state of being, right? A lot of times we don't know what's going on, so guess what we start doing? We start scrolling, right? We say, "Oh, I'm gonna go party." We distract ourselves by any means possible, as if that feeling is just gonna go away. In that moment, as we're distracting ourselves, we're not recognizing that feeling hasn't gone away; it's still there. And a lot of times, they start manifesting in crazy ways: anxiety attacks, panic attacks, like nothing in front of you is wrong, but guess what? Your body feels like something's wrong because you're ignoring all of the ways in which your body and your system is trying to tell you, hey, let's get this done. So, this is some example of some of the feelings. Let's move on to the next slide. Now, why people get stuck, right? Because we talked about some of the feelings that may come up, but let's talk about why you may get stuck. This one right here, perfectionism and fear of failure. This is, thank goodness, one of the things I don't have struggle with. I will put something out and throw it, see where it goes, and then it's okay. And then I go back and go back to the drawing board. When I went into private practice, I realized the perfectionist piece a lot of people struggle with. The fear of failure is something I don't really think too deeply about because my mindset has been shifted to like, you know what, if it doesn't work, I'm gonna go try again. What's the worst thing that can happen? Like, you really got to have that mindset, right? So the fear of not doing something perfectly or the potential for failure can lead you to procrastinating and avoiding taking the action altogether, right? And so part of what can help with that is asking yourself, okay, what if it fails? Because there's things that I've done that I haven't moved forward with because it didn't work out, right? So the fear of failure is real. Like, it could fail, but then what does that mean when it fails, right? Nobody dies because something failed. So be mindful of that. The perfectionism thing, nothing's perfect. Nobody's perfect, right? And I know creatives and people that are very artsy struggle with this perfectionism piece. So it's something to be mindful of. Be mindful of. Another reason why we get stuck, burnout, right? So if you're in stress is such a silent killer, literally will kill you, and it will kill your dreams, and it will kill your system. It will have your system in overload all the time. So, prolonged periods of stress and lack of self care can lead to burnout, a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion. Right. So, some of the reasons why you get stuck, if you're finding yourself stressed and overwhelmed, you don't have the capacity to find yourself doing the things that you need to do. I put perfectionism on here again. And then focus on short term rewards, right? So, human decision makers often prioritize short term rewards over long term goals, making it difficult to commit to future plans, right? Uh, if my alarm goes off, let's say I know if I get up on time for work, and move my body, because for me, moving my body helps me with not feeling so anxious. If I prioritize doing that, what will happen for me is that my day starts to look different. Now, the short term reward is sleeping in. I love to sleep in, right? It feels so good in the moment. So if I take that short term reward and find myself sleeping in, what will happen is that my day will start late. I don't get a chance to move my body, and I'll find myself feeling overwhelmed. That's a quick example on how a lot of times we'll take the short term reward over the long term reward. Me growing up, deciding to go to school, deciding to like work full time, part time, I had to put in a lot of labor, right? A lot of hours. I worked for a lot of companies. And now I'm at a place where I work for myself 100%, right? Like, so if you think about, yes, in the short term, it may feel good to sleep in, but in the long term, is that going to help me? Right? I seen a post that says, I want what those people that wake up at 6 a.m. have. I want what that is. It's called discipline, right? It's called like, you know what? I'm going to like prioritize my long-term rewards. I'm going to have my long-term rewards in front of me because if you're not intentional about it, your system will choose short-term all day. To this day, and I get up early and I do the things I need to do because I have no other choice if I want to be successful in my business, in my mental health, and my peace. If I want that, I'm going to have to get up early and get things done, right? And if you start working on prioritizing the things that you need to get done, you'll find yourself able to you'll find yourself able to um, get your goals completed in a way that you've never seen before. All right, let's go to the next slide. Excuse me. Now, what is the solution? First, it's important to identify triggers. So, recognizing the situations, thoughts, or feelings that contribute to you feeling overwhelmed, right? When you can start to understand why you're feeling overwhelmed, is it because, you know what, I'm rushing into work and I need to allow myself more time in the morning? Is it because I have too much on my plate? A lot of people do a lot of invisible labor, especially women. I find women will do a lot of tasks and don't even realize all the things they have and they put on their plate. Break down the tasks, right? Start dividing your larger tasks into smaller ones and more manageable, right? A lot of times you might see this big thing. I got to do this big thing. Okay, I know it's this big thing, but what can I do today? Let's just use your house for example. Let's say your house is a mess, right? And every time you think about doing it, you feel discouraged because there's so much to do. You can find yourself saying, you know what, let me just start with my closet. Or better yet, let me make up my bed every day. Let me start getting into a routine of making up my bed every day. Now, let me put these clothes away, right? Break down the tasks. Don't allow the magnitude of what you have to do stop you from starting with the little stuff. Start prioritizing. Focus on the most important tasks and delegate or eliminate less crucial ones. Be okay with asking for help if it's available, right? Like, allow yourself to give yourself what you need. It may feel uncomfortable asking for help, but if you have people in your life that can help with some of the tasks, and I'm talking about anything from your house, anything from your goals, right? Join a support group, right? You can't do this alone. If you are feeling stuck and there are so many ways that you find yourself doubting yourself, allow yourself to get into other spaces with like-minded people, even if it's online, even if it's somebody's blog, even if it's a book. When I was starting out, I would read books that looked like what I wanted to do. I would start following people that were doing the things that I wanted to do. Start practicing mindfulness, right? That's something that's important. When you start to like pause, reflect, ask yourself what you need, we're just going, going, going. We're not asking ourselves what we need. And that's a problem. When you don't allow yourself to give yourself what you need, you're going to find yourself just surviving and moving through life, right? And the plan is to have peace. The plan is to work on living the life that you can visualize. The thing is, you got to have, J. Cole said, you got to have this delusion about your life. Like, you got to start believing things beyond what your mind, what you can physically see, right? I had a vision. I wanted to help people heal. And I didn't know what that looked like. Before the podcast, before my practice, I just had this passion and I see myself speaking to people. I see myself helping people in different capacities, in different ways. And I get to see that every single day, right? Not just individually in my practice, but on a larger scale with this podcast, with this wellness center. I had this delusion about the fact that, like, I can do this. And the more I visualize it, the more my mind starts to show me answers. not just visualized it, but putting it a plan together, right? Being very intentional about it. I hope this was helpful. As you can see, I'm very passionate about like this and shifting your thought process and helping you see who you are, right? A lot of times we're allowing our circumstances to tell us who we are, and we're not allowing the fact that, you know what, just because this happened and just because I went through this, just because I chose that type of life in the past, I want to choose different. I always say, as long as you're still breathing, there's room for change, right? So I need you to remember that. I need you to believe that. So we're going to start by starting small, right? Making a plan, being consistent, and being very patient with yourself. Patience is key, right? So if anything I ever say resonates for you, understand that you have the power to create change. But guess what? You got to have faith to believe in yourself. When you start having faith, when you believe in yourself, no one can take that from you. Like, you know, I get validation and accolades now, but when I started, I wasn't getting it like that outside of my circle, right? But I had this faith inside of me, and no one could take that away from me. That's so powerful. And so, even if you don't believe it, start speaking it into existence. Start saying, you know what? I can do this. I can get my house organized. I'm going to start with my room, right? Not like, oh, I can't never do anything. You start talking like that, your mind's going to be like, all right, Celeste, I guess we can't do nothing. But if I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna start doing my room. I'm gonna start making up my bed every day. I'm gonna start putting my clothes away, right? Because if your space is cluttered, your mind's gonna be cluttered. Start with the small things. When you start with the small things, you start to allow your system to gain confidence that you can do the bigger things. So make sure you follow me. Follow me on all social media platforms. You can follow me at Celeste the Therapist. Also, you can follow my wellness center at stwyt.com. And all that stands for is shifting the way you think. Again, stwyt.com. I would love to hear from you if this episode resonates for you. Find me on social media. Let me know. Email me. Let me know how it's resonated for you and what you are doing to start to create that change.